Hi folks, so this is going to be the last installment on the Sansui AU11000, and oh what a strange trip the last part of this has been. I had this all reassembled and set up in the house, burning it in, enjoying it, listening to it, and I was contacted by a subscriber who's also a member of an audio forum I belong to. He really liked my distortion analyzer, and he found a deal on eBay with a seller that was selling two of them for a pretty good price, and he got them, but one of them was damaged in shipping. When he contacted the company, they sent him another one, and he contacted me to see if I would like to buy the old one, which of course I jumped on. These things are pretty hard to find on this side of the Pacific. So I got it, and I was able to get the oscillator working in my analyzer. So I brought the AU11000 back up here, and I thought, this is great. I'll show you the whole thing assembled. No longer looks like a science project. It looks like an amplifier again. But when I put it on the distortion analyzer, I saw high levels of distortion, inaudible to the human ear, but doesn't meet spec. Now, I'm not going to give it back to the owner like that. I'm just not. Whether you can hear it or not isn't really the point. The point is, he wants it rebuilt, and it's supposed to be factory spec, and by God, it's going to before it leaves my possession. And it required quite a lot of time, because I'm going to tell you a little secret here, and that is, if something's completely broken, it's a whole lot easier to fix than something that isn't quite working right. I mean, if I get an amplifier and the owner says it's not working, and I take the cover off and there's a smoking crater in the middle, it's pretty easy to see where the problem is. But with something that's just like that far from meeting spec, and this was around 0.5% distortion, and I don't believe the human ear can hear anything below 1 or maybe even 2%. Maybe some people can. I certainly can't. I mean, at my age, with my hearing, I could probably sell everything but my subwoofer. In any event, neither channel met spec. I'm going to put up a screenshot I took of the distortion analyzer, and you'll see that the first channel is around 0.5%, and the second channel is about 0.15, I believe it is. The spec is 0.08%. So that took many, many hours and quite a bit of studying, hair pulling, and experimentation until I finally found the problem, and it was very odd. And I'm going to show you what that was. So I'm going to move the camera so we can get a better look at that. Okay, thanks to member pack 1085, my distortion analyzer now works. So I want you to take a look at not only the power output, but more importantly, the THD. So if I turn the oscillator on, we get good signal. It's right around the edge of clipping here. In fact, it's already in clipping, so I need to drop this down a little. Okay. There. Now we're looking at 0.03, 0.025% total harmonic distortion. And that is way better than what we were getting. And when I show you what the problem is, you'll understand why it took me so long to find it. So these are the output modules, and we have two printed circuit boards. One side contains the NPN transistors, and the other side contains the PNP transistors. And between them, at the emitter resistors, and I'm going to put the schematic up here right after I show you this, you have this link right here that links both sides. And that was the problem. When I measured from an emitter resistor here where they tie together, because remember there's 4 output transistors, 4 emitter resistors. The emitter resistors tie together here on this board, and this link ties them together, and that goes to the output. And the problem was that there was a poor connection between the boards. Not much. In fact, I used my 4-wire ohms reading on my LCR meter, which allows you to measure very, very low resistances. And I believe the resistance was perhaps 0.4, 0.5 ohms. That doesn't seem like a lot, but remember, your emitter resistors are 0.33 ohms. And having that created enough of an imbalance between these channels to give you distortion. It wasn't visible in the sine wave, it wasn't audible, but it was there. And let me pop the schematic up here and I'll show you exactly where that was. That was between these 2 points, and that's where the output is taken off. So I did the first channel and it dropped the distortion dramatically. So much so I decided to do the second channel and it also dropped by a factor of 10. So we're not talking about small amounts of, well, actually they are small amounts of distortion, but when you think about 0.4, 0.5% down to 0.08%, that's a large drop in distortion. Probably totally inaudible, but that's not really the point. The point is, if you're going to do this, you got to do it right. And that was the cause. Okay, so I've got this hooked up to some speakers now. I'm going to try something a little different. Usually I just play it and you hear it through my lapel mic, but I have a couple of SM57s I had laying around from my misspent youth, and I thought I would see if I could just put those directly into the camera and give you a better idea what this really sounds like. So in front of my bench speakers I have a microphone here and another one over there. So I'm going to disconnect this mic, connect that up, and we'll see how this works. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me back here, but let's put some music on and see what we get.
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm.
Okay, I'm going to hook the mic back up so you can hear me, and we'll close this video out. Okay, so this thing is pretty much done. I've gone through every function, everything's working. I don't have something known as a reverse RIAA adapter for testing the phonos, so I did something a little different. I made a CD with a reverse RIAA curve. So when played through a phono input, of course you have to attenuate it quite a bit, the tonal balance is correct. And I did this in Audacity, and if anyone's interested, say something in the comments and I'll make a short video showing how that was done. It was a pretty simple process. I kind of thought I could do something like that, but Audacity's turned out to be a really good tool. When the oscillator in my generator died, I made a CD in Audacity with sine waves. And they were very low distortion. When played through the CD player, it was lower distortion than any of my other signal generators. So one other thing I want to point out before we finish this video off is, if you remember, I put the trim pots for the bias and offset on the back of the circuit board. So if you look here, you can see those. However, if somebody goes to do this, do the adjustments, they wouldn't know that. They wouldn't be able to find them. So I left a note on the side of the transformer that says remove side panel to access bias offset pots. And I put another note up here on top Let me move this camera back a little. And that says turn counterclockwise to increase, because remember, now that these are on the other side of the board, the trimmer pot action is going to be backwards. So if you don't know that, you might think you're turning the bias down and it's actually going up, and you'll lose your mind. So it's always a good idea, if you do something, to leave a note for the next person to get into it. So that's all we have. This project is completed. I thank everybody for their patience and their interest. And as always, I like giving back to the community that has given me so much. Thanks a lot, folks, and have a great day.